And damn it, I was hoping you guys wouldn't do it. And it's all good. No, I don't care. It's all good. It's all good. So all is called a few different people that we booked ahead of time, to see if they can switch and speak today. Last minute, nobody could. So she asked me to step in, and it's an honor for me to do so. Just want to put a couple of things on the table. I am tired. I haven't slept much the last couple of days, and newborn baby and a full life and a beautiful life, So my brain's not working, and I feel like I have nothing to offer. I really do. That's just how I feel. I need to put that on the table, because when I share my secrets on the when I put it on the table, when I'm transparent with you guys, something seems to happen more times than not, where the spirit steps in and shines a light on it, and he does whatever he does, So step 11. All right, do my best. I want to start off by saying what a gift this meeting has been. This meeting is a result of a step 11 practice, by the way. And when the pandemic hit, and we were all afraid of what's going to happen, the first thought was one of fear, and the second thought was one of usefulness. The prayer, my knees got bent, and I prayed, and I asked God, can you please show me how I can be useful? Because it's been my experience that when I wash the world's feet, my hands stop trembling. When I try to be of service to you, which is I have a peace inside of me, and the Spirit filled my heart. And what was told to me is that start a meeting to talk about me. And that's what happened. So I ran it by Teresa, and her and I prayed and meditated, and she came up with this beautiful format. And the last almost 4 years been so blessed because I feel like every week we're here dining a spiritual meal together. I got to meet friends and brothers like Calvin and many, many, many more, light carriers, seekers, we get to talk about this beautiful power, this loving power, this infinite resource, this inner resource, who has taken me from the scrap heap of life and dropped me in the most beautiful life today. As a result of these steps, as a result of you beautiful people pointing me, encouraging me to cultivate and deepen a relationship with this loving power, I get to sit here before you, and I get to tell you, I get to share with you that on a daily basis, to the best of my ability, as humbly as I possibly can. Sometimes I fail at that, I tap into this power. I wake up to this power. I experience this power. I get to walk under the sunlight of the Spirit of this power, and I get to come over here and tell you about this power in the 11th step. No matter how difficult life is, as it seems to be right now, but I got to tell you, sometimes when I have lack of sleep, it just seems to be heavier than they are. So I know that much, right? Because everything I have is because of this power, a relationship with this power. Suicidal, couldn't draw a sober breath the last 2 or 3 years of my drinking. Unlovable, unloved, ugly on the outside and inside, unemployable and unemployed. And the only thing that makes sense, because today I'm looking back at it with a little bit more clear spiritual lenses, the only thing that makes sense is what I was seeking was always seeking me. Is what at first was seemed like a flimsy reed was a powerful and loving hand of this beautiful, loving God that literally grabbed me, caressed me, brought me to the sacred rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, next to you awakened people, who introduced me to a sacred book, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And you told me, kid, this is not an intellectual exercise, this is a spiritual endeavor. This 2-inch book is going to become thousands of miles deep if you seek him to the best of your ability. And that's what I've done, to the best of my ability. But I didn't come into these rooms believing. The relationship with God, I didn't come into these rooms really seeking. I had a very dysfunctional relationship with self, with my head, with my thoughts. That's what I, for 7 years in and out of this program, I knocked on every single door that I can knock on to prove to you that I'm not like you guys. I don't need a power greater than me. I am the power. I'll figure it out. Chasing romantic relationships and jobs and accolades and acknowledgement, chasing. Every time I would reach a destination that I thought would fill this God-sized hole, this void inside of me, I would feel empty soon after. It was like putting an ice cube on a 3rd-degree burn of the soul for a couple of seconds. And then after, my mind is racing and I'm worried about what you think about me. I want to crawl out of my own skin. I want to kill myself. I want to drink. That was my life, you know? And for years, in this program, thinking I'm the power, trying to play the role of this power in your life, in everybody's life, in my own life. Until the disease of alcoholism beat out of me any idea that I had that I could do this life on my own. I was brought back here to you guys, a blank slate, humble, teachable, and you began to draw on me. You began to blow life into me with your kindness, with your love. Show me that we don't shoot the wounded here. Show me that no one's better than anyone else in Alcoholics Anonymous. We all walk shoulder to shoulder. Showing that the highest position anyone can ever have in the spiritual realm, in the realm of the spirit, is that of servant. You know, as a result of a relationship with this power. What you told me is that, Ali, when I came back and I was able and ready to listen to you, you said something that you probably were saying all along. That don't worry about trying to figure this thing out. You know, because my brain wants God on a spreadsheet, 1 + 1 + 2 + 3. It wants an answer, right? But it doesn't work that way. Because to know God, I got to be out of my mind. I got to be out of this mind. I got to transcend this thing, cognitive thinking. It's got to come from the heart. Only from the heart can you touch the sky, Rumi says. You know, what you told me is that the only thing, we're going to set the bar really low for you. How about this? How about you don't need to figure God out? How about this? You come up with your own conception of God that works for you. And how about this? Can you concede to your innermost self? Yes, that I'm an alcoholic for sure. But the next step, can you concede to your innermost self that maybe your ideas did not work? If you could do that, we'll introduce you to a new concept. The God idea may work for you because it has for us. So you start to become the lights, the light carriers that will shine the God idea to me. Your ideas did not work, but the God idea will. Our ideas did not work, but the God idea did. So then I began a journey of a very scientific process, I think. It's not esoteric to me. It's not philosophical. It's not, I'm not going to use the term. Okay, that's a little rude. It's not, it's very practical. It's a scientific process. What I mean is this. I have gathered evidence in my own life the last few years through a series of actions that I keep doing and getting results for of the existence of a loving God in my life. Gathered evidence. You never told me to believe in anything. You just said, keep an open mind. Did your ideas work? No. Well, this God idea, man. And there were times where I was in the fetal position. And all I could come back to is that, you know what? At this time, I don't even know. But I'm going to act as if. I'm going to act as if God exists. And how I do that is I stay in the circle and triangle. I stay clean house, trust God, help others. I share myself honestly with you guys. I cultivate and deepen a relationship in this beautiful, with this beautiful, loving, forgiving power through prayer and meditation. And I get to experience His light again. You know, I act as if. That's all I have to do. Program of action. From the action, I get results. It's so simple, but I don't want to complicate it. I want to unpack it in front of you guys. I want to describe it to you. I want to show you. When I'm really spiritually asleep, I want to teach you. And you still don't shoot me. And you still pour love into me. And you're still kind to me. You know what I mean? That's God right there. I woke up when I was truly ready, and this teacher that God sent in my path, when I was brought back to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, opened the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous with me when I was truly ready. So we went through the big book line by line. I'm not telling everybody to do that. That was just my experience. the big book started to become alive to me. Because what happened was that the gift of desperation, 7 years in and out, couple of suicide attempts in those 7 years, the window of the gift of desperation, met the window of the grace of God. And one of you sat at that window, one of his angels. And what you did for me is that you poured your experience on the pages of this book. And that's how it became alive to me. And I got to do the same. And as a result of these steps, I was set on fire immediately, right away. I'm still on fire. but see, not on fire like living a perfect life. On fire as in like I still have a deep yearning to get to know this, to deepen the relationship with this loving power. I have a deep yearning inside of me to be with you, to be closer to you, to be a better humble person. Just a little bit better today than I was yesterday. Inside of me. Because in every man, woman, and child, the guy is a fundamental idea of God, right? So that if God is inside of me, then God is inside of you. When I'm separate from you, I'm separate from this power. So I have a deep yearning inside of me to serve you. And I do it imperfectly. And I make mistakes. Thank God God doesn't make too hard turns for a broken soul like me. I pulled that card out a lot. You know? I'm sponsoring people first. Sorry, last minute. I didn't really get to meditate on a topic, so we'll step it out on my journey, I guess. You know, it's coming out. It is what it is. I'm sponsoring the first 3 years in the program, sponsoring a lot of men, speaking here and there, coming to these rooms, professing to you that the relationship with God is the most important relationship in my life. It's the most sacred relationship in my life. Lying through my teeth. If you ever want to know what somebody believes in, listen to their words fine, but watch their feet. Calvin knows about that. He's a boots on the ground kind of brother. Calvin knows about that. So if you were to watch my feet, you would have seen that I'm giving God very little time throughout the day. This relationship that I profess to you guys that has transformed my life. Look at the beautiful life I lead, right? I'm still doing it 3 years in. Quick little prayer in the morning, please keep me sober. And at night, thank you for keeping me sober. Now, please, I always need to say this when it comes out this way. Please, I don't mean this as disrespect to anybody that's doing that. God bless you if it's working for you. All I'm saying is that for me, what I found is that this path is so broad and roomy that when I take a small 24-hour humble step forward each time, it gets narrower and narrower and narrower. One of the ways it narrows for me and my elders is that I can no longer get away with not doing what the big book suggests for too long. Step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. And old-timers saw me at these meetings, eh? One of you loving old-timers. You saw me. You didn't embarrass me in front of people. You knew I was lying, but you knew that I didn't even know that I was lying. You know what I mean? You pulled me aside and said, Ali, that's interesting. So you mean to tell me that the relationship with your wife, with God is the most important relationship in your life? Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, I want you to consider something. What other relationship is important in your life? Afsi, my wife. What this old timer said to me is that, well, I want you to consider this. If you give Afsi, your wife, the same amount of time on a daily basis that you're giving God, she would divorce you. Imagine me and Afsi, the last 11 years of marriage. If all I did to communicate with her, good morning, honey. Good night, honey. Keep you sober, God. Thank you for keeping me sober. There'll be no relationship. Any relationship that means anything in my life, I have to spend time with, I have to cultivate and nourish, fertilize, let it grow. You know? And see, I have found that every time, this is a good barometer for me, okay? I don't know if anyone else can use this, but when I'm feeling uneasy and I start to feel like a fraud, somehow, some way, my walk and my talk are diverging, starting to part and go opposite directions. So when I'm coming to these rooms telling you that the relationship with God is the most important relationship of my life, and I don't have a prayer meditative life, I start to feel like a fraud inside these rooms. The disease of alcoholism is talking to me. You're a loser. Look at you. I start to become really rigid in this program. I start to tell people that they're doing it wrong. I start to go line by line in step 11 workshops and unpack it as if like I am the one that knows everything. Meanwhile, I'm not doing anything. So I have to put up a front like that because that's how this illness works. On me. I'm not saying on you, on me. On me. Woo, loving God. From that day to this, it's been a few years, man. I have cultivated, deepened, nourished a loving relationship with this loving God. I have basked under the sunlight of this God. I've been present to this God in this breath, in this moment. I don't apologize for the relationship I have with this God. And I don't try to force you my belief in this God. I invite you to gather your own evidence of this God through a series of actions. If you want to, that is, for your friends. And if you don't, all good. All good. A prayer life has grown around me. A meditative life the last few years, 8 years or so, has grown around me organically. I spend time with this power. In the mornings, I spend a good amount of time. I just wake up really early in the morning. Well, these days I'm doing overnights because I have a 4.5-month-old baby. So I stay up to 6 in the morning and I sleep for a few hours, because he's still at that stage where he's every 2-3 hours he's up. So after she can get some good sleep, I stay up because she's a lot more valuable to this family than I am. And I know that. And the only sacrifice I can make is sleep. And that's plenty. I mean, and that's even not enough. She really is. She's a child of God. I love her so much. That was a tangent. To a lot of different prayers and different modalities of meditation. Sometimes it was guided and sometimes it was contemplation and sometimes it was two-way prayer, but these days it's just silence. It's just a lot of silence. I just close the door, go inside, and I sit in silence. Because I get to go in the darkness to see and the silence to hear. I get to be comfortable in my own skin. I get to go in the darkness to see, in the silence to hear. That's the talk about common sense becoming uncommon sense. Bill Wilson talked about it, right? In the third dimension, all third dimension thinking in this spiritual realm has become uncommon sense to me. Because in the third dimension, when I was building a relationship with self, when I thought I was the higher power, when I wasn't spending much time with this higher power, what my common sense was, it's gone. I'm sorry. It's gone. All right, God, what you got planned now? Oh, my common sense was that I literally thought like I really thought I'm living life with open eyes and open ears and an open heart. I didn't know I was not the spiritual teacher talks about. I didn't know I was sleepwalking, thinking I'm awake. I had no idea. And you've introduced me to a beautiful path in which I get to go into the darkness to see and the silence to hear. One time there was it was early in the morning. I was working construction back then, a few years back, right? And you got to wake up really, really early for construction. So I had to wake up extra early to sit in prayer and meditation. I'm sitting in prayer and meditation. After some time, the voice I've come to know this voice. Like I don't hear it audibly. Some may, nothing wrong with that. I hear it in my cells. They start to scream at me. And what is said to me was, go and tell Afsi that everything's going to be okay. It's 5 in the morning. She doesn't wake up till 6:30. I'm not going to wake her up. It's 4:30 in the morning. She'll get upset with me, right? But I've learned to listen to that voice. So I went upstairs quietly. I just bent over the bed quietly. And I quietly whispered in here, baby, hey, everything's going to be okay. 1,000%, baby. That's the thing we have with each other. I say 1,000% to her when she's worried, right? 1,000%, baby. Her eyes pop open. She starts bawling. She sits right up. She's like, what are you doing? And I said, well, I don't know, I was meditating and the voice said to come and tell you everything's going to be okay. 1000%, baby. Don't you worry. She starts crying. She said, are you kidding me? She said, the last 15 minutes, my brain had, the predator mind had woken me up. I just had my eyes closed and it was just torturing me with thoughts of this business deal that's going wrong. And I couldn't stop. I didn't know what to do. You mean God sent you here? She gives me a big hug. I give her a big kiss. I go to my work and she calls me during my break. He said, you don't understand what happened. When you did that, it was like God spoke to me and all my fears fell from me. And when my mom, because my mother-in-law lives with us, she says, Mommy woke up and I went to her room and I gave her a big hug. And the whole day I just been giving people love and love and love and love and love and love and love. And I became present to this truth, to this fact that the only thing I need to know in this, the only thing I need to know, do in this world is to help his kids. You want to get to know me? Help my kids? Really, you want to get to know me? Well, here's a difficult situation. Help my kids. The poet Rumi says, being a candle is not easy. In order to give light, one must burn first. You want to get to know me? Here's a difficult situation. Seek me now. Seek me now. Somehow, some way, as a result of very imperfectly trying to cultivate a relationship with this loving power, somehow, some way, I don't know when it happened, I don't know how it happened, but I know it happened. This world stopped happening to me. Everything starts to happen for me. Everything. Everything is a message. Everyone's a messenger. Doesn't matter if I don't like the way they're giving me the message. Doesn't matter even if they're asleep to the message they're giving me. I don't care. Everyone's a message. Everyone's a messenger. My life has meaning and purpose because of that. Because I'm to be a channel. I made a deal with the third step with this power. The deal was, God, look, I've destroyed my life sober. Okay. I've destroyed my life sober, never mind drinking. Marriage on the rocks one time. We almost got divorced. Depression in recovery. Can't find a job to help support a family in recovery. Feeling like a fraud in recovery. I don't know. There's so many things. Hurting people in recovery. I've destroyed my life sober. So I'm at the third step. By the way, I have to renew this commitment to this deal I made with this loving power every single day. It's not a one-time thing, right? So I come to the third step. I renew it continuously. God, I've destroyed my life sober. I cannot manage my own life. Can you please take care of the details of my life? I will make a deal with you. You're the employer. You're the father. You're the director. You're the principal. I'm going to stay close to you, do your work well. I'm going to just help your kids. That's all, to the best of my ability. You take care of the details of my life. Because I'm supposed to be a channel. The deal was not to have a happy marriage all the time, to build the bank account, to become a speaker seeker, to become a circus speaker, to whatever it is that is in the head. You know what I mean? None of that was a deal. I destroyed my life sober or drunk. I give up. Please take over. I'm going to be your servant. And everything I will do from now on in my life is to serve you and your kids. And by the way, I fall asleep to that at times, but I have you guys to remind me of that. I have you guys to demonstrate for me what it looks like when you do that. Because I'm to be a channel. And the flow of God's love, this flow of God energy, if I'm a channel, if I'm a pipe coming from a well, the flow is supposed to flow through me into the lives of others. That's how I get present to bliss and love. Because when I'm in my purpose, when I'm praying, meditating to show you how spiritual I am, and needing to definitely make sure to speak at every at every talk I do on step 11, how long I meditate when it's not asked of me, when I need to do that constantly, when I need for you to look at me and put me on a pedestal. That flow of God's love that God has gifted me with, it becomes like a swamp. It starts to stink. And I start to choke on it. It's got to flow through me, man, like a clean river. It's got to be about his kids. I pray and meditate because I want to see what his will is for me to help his kids. That's it. End of story, period. Exclamation point. You know? I was having trouble finding a job early on to help support a family. I remember one of these times I was sitting in meditation early in the morning, asking him. My prayers are about usefulness because you've taught me every single prayer in the big book is about usefulness to one degree or another, you know? Usefulness, God, usefulness, help me be useful. God, I'm afraid. I want to stop fighting with AFSI over the bills. I feel like I'm not a real father, a real man. Can you please help me? All I'm asking is that just whatever you do with my finances and my career, just please put me in a place where I can be of maximum service to you and the people about me. That's all I ask you. In my own way, different prayers, voice the idea. The words don't even matter. I got to voice the idea from my heart, right? So I say that prayer, and that day I'm working, I was like digging ditches, whatever I was doing. And the intuitive thought came, what I need you to do is go volunteer at a 12-step base treatment center. I know that's an outside issue. I understand. I'm not going to talk about treatment centers, right? 12-step base treatment center. So I go to this, I few phone calls here and there and volunteer, but God, I asked you for a job that I can support my family. Volunteer. All right. So I go to this, I find this 12-step base treatment center. I make an appointment with the manager. I sit down at in his office and we start to talk about this and that. And they had a list of like criteria that one needs to meet even to volunteer. And I didn't meet a couple of them, right? And then he was, although the interaction was good, he was just, I guess he was busy and he just wasn't like, he was sort of dismissing me in a kind way, but just like, you know, maybe you get those criteria met and then you can come, right? And then I get to watch his power. I get to watch his power do for me what I cannot do for myself. I get to watch this power when he has work for me to do. I get to watch the walls come down every single time. 3 of his most senior counselors walk in his office, one by one, 30 seconds apart. I had no idea. They had no idea I was there. One of them I knew, 2 of them I didn't know. They walk in his office with some emergency that they had. They would never, I found out later, they would never just, you know, that just doesn't happen. They turn around, they see me in the seat, and every single one of them, are you kidding me? Ali, what are you doing here? I know you from this, and then you don't understand, Kevin. This guy, you gotta. They left, and his jaw dropped, and he's like, "I guess God plans for you, eh? You're probably staying here." I said, "All right, man." So I stayed at this place, and I started to do big book stuff, classes. You know, just they do the first 3 steps at these places. Right? I'm volunteering, right? So I'm doing. Just the first 2 steps or 3 steps, and I start to talk about God, and I start to watch. Thank you, John. Thanks, brother. I start to watch the eyes of these men light up. It was a men's treatment center, and they start to come to me. Can you help us do whatever it is that you're talking about? Your experiences. I start to get sponsees over there and just volunteer on my own time. We go listen to 5th steps, the 1st step. And you know what happened? So after about a year of doing this, he comes to me, the manager, and says, "Would you like to come on board? But I don't have a degree. You need a degree for that place, eh? I don't have a degree." He's like, "I don't care. I've seen enough. I'm going to pull some string with my manager. He brings me on board. I start to work there for a couple of years. But the point is this. The point is that, and they don't pay much at these places, man, especially it's a non-for-profit one. They don't pay much, right? So, but the point of that is this. See, I asked him to take care of the details of my life and allow me to be of service to you. Put me where I'll be maximum service to you. Throughout this 2 or 3 years of volunteering and working there, all my bills are paid. I have very little fear of financial insecurity, even though I have plenty of financial insecurity, and I'm walking in bliss. Because when he has work for you, the walls come down. There's so many examples. There's so many examples. The Spirit has, John, I got my timer too, but I got 4 minutes. So I'll finish soon. Thank you. The Spirit has dropped spiritual breadcrumbs for me. And the 11th step in the big book, it says 2 lines that I used to conveniently ignore. Be quick to see where religious people are, right? Make use of what they have to offer. There's lots of books out there. See, because for a while I was treating this treasure map of the big book as the treasure, not the treasure, man. When I treated it the treasure, the words in this big book started to program me. I started to become rigid. The Spirit was lost. But it's a treasure map. And in this treasure map, it says to me, only if you're moved to Ali, go beyond this book, but keep AA at the center of your life, but you can explore. So God put spiritual breadcrumbs in front of me, and I picked them up, ended up in churches. I'm not a Christian. I make friends with a reverend, and we did a Bible study in his home with his family and friends for like 10 weeks. The book of Matthew, whatever. It was fantastic. I loved it. I'm still not a Christian. I ended up in mosques and churches and Eckhart Tolle and Thomas Merton and Anthony DeMello and Rumi and Hafid. The universe of God, man. If I can contain this loving power in the book ends of this sacred big book, then my God ain't big enough. I'm sorry. And I'm not pleased please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying everyone's got to go explore. No. But if you're moved to, I got to explore, man. That's what I did. I want to share, and I'll end with this, just one of my most profound spiritual experiences in the last few years that I don't usually share, because I thought I was going crazy. 2000, at the end of August, beginning of September 2012, I was in a deep meditation, and the cells in my body started to scream at me. This is the last day of your life. Like I'm telling you, I heard it. This is the last day of your life. This is all that there is in this moment. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want to pack into the stream of life? And I became present to that Rumi line that says, you're not a drop in the ocean, you're an ocean in a drop. That God is in this moment, right here, right now. And for the next 3.5 to 4 weeks, I walked around from the moment I opened up my eyes to the moment I closed my eyes at night. I felt like I was on 5 hits of ecstasy. I would walk around. I just wanted to give people love. It was just the craziest thing. And I was just smiling all the time. I would watch people, and I would walk by and they're smiling. It was like there was a shift of energy as I entered the room, like that. I would watch it. I know it's not me. I know that, you know. And I got scared. I don't want to share because I thought I'm going. You know, first, you know what I mean. Yeah, okay. You know what I mean. So I would share just a couple of people. I shared first my sponsor, then my wife, and I slowly I shared with Teresa. I shared with my brother Calvin one time, right? Just a little bit. A few weeks later, after about 4 or 5 weeks, I had a huge injury with the tendons in my chest muscle just ripped right off. And by the way, that experience went away. But you know what remained? You know what remained? The knowing that God is everything. The knowing that everything's okay. That's what remains in my heart, in my soul. Because I don't believe, this is my experience, I don't believe that I'm supposed to be walking on water and bliss all the time, because that would not make me useful to other people. The big book says, we're sure God wants your head in the clouds with him, but your feet right here on earth. That's where your fellow travelers live, because it's in the gash in the armor and the wounds in the psyche and all the brokenness and all the pain that he gets to shine through. So I'm back on earth. I'm not in 5 hits of ecstasy anymore. And I'm a little tired these days. And I'm a little bit low today. I was. And I want to thank you for your kindness, for your generosity. That's all I have to do. Thank you so much.
Oh, God. Thank you, Ali.